everybody, Trevor here. You've all seen my top 5 worst Ertl Thomas models video. Now, get ready for my top 5 best ones! Before we begin, I just want to address one screw up from the last video. Stepney and Bluebell aren't the exact same class despite working on the Bluebell Railway. Stepney is a Terrier A1X, while Bluebell is a P class. First off, sorry for the misinformation earlier. I just got confused, that's all. And secondly, I'd like to thank Percy Engine Production 061 for pointing this out to me. Anyways, for this list, not only will I include televised characters that we all know and love, but I also want to include non-televised ones. However, I won't be including any tender engines as their tenders are not detachable. And that's my only problem with all of these tender engines. But overall, they're all pretty cool in my opinion. In addition, I won't be including any special edition models like metallic ones or the Christmas themed toys, because I want to only focus on the normal items. While I do love almost all these Ertl Thomas models, but for the sake of this video, I only want to list 5, just so the video itself isn't too long. Now without further ado, let's begin, shall we? Number 5. Thomas the Tank Engine. As some of you may know, Thomas is my favorite of the main characters because of his cheeky, fussy, and eager personality, though he can be forgetful and not a very good listener sometimes. One thing I love about his Ertl model is his extended side tanks. They kind of look like something from the Railway series. However, I put him as number 5 because if I were to put him as number 1, then it would be too cliched. And if you want more details on why I love Thomas so much, then I suggest you watch my top 5 Steam Team members video. Trust me, it's worth your time. All in all, when it comes to main character models, Thomas will always be my favorite of the bunch for these reasons alone. Number 4 is a tie of 3 coaches, Henrietta, Isabel, and Catherine. In my opinion, when it comes to coaches in the Ertl Thomas range, these are the most uniquely designed coaches ever. Henrietta is Toby's faithful coach who has seen better days, even though she didn't have a face in the classic series until season 18 of the CGI series. Isabel is one of the auto coaches from the Railway series who escaped from scrap alongside Oliver and Toad thanks to Douglas. She was the only auto coach to be released in merchandise and was in her original maroon livery. And Catherine is Caldy's trusty mountain coach who helps Caldy keep an eye on the tracks. Speaking of Catherine, I think her Ertl model is her best form in terms of Thomas toys. I mean, it's much better than her wooden railway counterpart. In conclusion, I think the Ertl models of Henrietta, Isabel, and Catherine are very unique in design, and if you're a hardcore Ertl fan like I am, I suggest you pick these up from eBay or Amazon at a fair asking price. Though they are very hard to find nowadays, no thanks to Hit Entertainment ending the line in 2004. Screw them. Number 3. Mavis. Mavis is not only one of my favorite female characters in the show, but she's also one of my favorite diesel engines because I thought her black and yellow warning stripes make her look cool. I especially love the other outer details on her, including the Farquhar Quarry Company Limited logo on her side plates. I might get her in Bachmann form as well, but I'm not gonna promise that right now. So all in all, when it comes to diesel engines in the Ertl range, Mavis would be the best one in my opinion because of these reasons alone. Number 2 is another tie of 3, Caldy, Godred, and Lord Harry aka Patrick. When it comes to non-televised characters in the Ertl range, these 3 would have to be my most favorite ones of them all for many reasons. For one thing, I love the purple coats of paint on these engines because back in the day, purple wasn't a very common color in terms of the Railway series and classic TV series. Secondly, I first got Caldy during Christmas time until I stupidly left him behind during preschool but didn't cry about it for some reason. God, I'm an idiot. Thankfully, I bought myself a new one during my trip to Boone, Iowa one time. I sure hope I don't lose him again. Another thing I like about Caldy is that he's smart and sensible, just like Edward, and he knows a thing or two about safety, especially on the mountain railway. Now let's move on to Godred. He's my third favorite of the trio, He was the railway's #1 engine until he had a serious accident when he fell down the mountainside and was badly damaged. And unfortunately, he didn't survive the crash, so he was taken apart over time and his parts were used to mend the other engines, which was very dark. But it just goes to show you that death rarely happens in the Thomas lore, especially in the original books. I first bought Godred at a train store in Mall of America back in my youth, and I was very thankful I didn't lose him like I did with my first Caldy model. And finally, we have Lord Harry, now called Patrick. He was one of the new members of the Culdifell Railway and was notorious for his arrogance and recklessness. And because of that, Mr. Walter Richards punished him by taking his name away until number 6 proved himself a hero after rescuing some mountain climbers during a storm and was renamed Patrick after one of the mountain climbers. I received a model of Lord Harry on one of my old birthdays back in the late 1990s. I think it was my 8th birthday, but I can't remember. And like Godred, I didn't lose his model either. Thank God for that. If there's another thing I love about these 3 engine models, it would be the outer details, whether on the front, the sides, or even those unusual extra faces on the rear ends of them. And I think it's for safety precautions on the cog railway. So overall, Caldy, Godred, and Patrick are not only the best non-televised characters from the Railway series, but also because they're awesome looking engine models. And I thought Ertl did an excellent job with their respective details, so therefore I highly recommend buying all 3 of them, though they can be a bit pricey on eBay since Ertl has been discontinued since 2004. Now, before I get to my #1 pick, I just want to give a few honorable mentions. Old Slow Coach. She would have easily been number 4, along with the other 3 coaches I mentioned. But my only gripe with her is that her coupling at the back of her makes it kind of hard to couple up with the other trains due to her size and scale. Diesel 7101, aka Bear. While I'm thankful that this guy was released in Ertl form, but my only problem with him is his face because it looks 2D. And it doesn't look too much like the one from the Railway series. In fact, it looks more like his Hornby counterpart in a way. But still, he looks overall nice. Trevor the Traction Engine. If I put this character on the list, then it would be such a disappointing giveaway. But still, his model looks very nice, whether in normal, scrap, or even in miniature keyring form. And the #1 best Ertl Thomas model of all time is Stepney the Bluebell Engine. Ah yes, Stepney. One of my all-time favorite Thomas characters based on a real-life locomotive of the same name. You know, I should do a top 5 on that someday. Anyways, what I love about Stepney's model is that he looks just like his TV show counterparts, unlike Bluebell's model, which was a rehash of Thomas's Ertl model. Another thing I love about Stepney is his likable and relatable personality. He's a friendly, enthusiastic, and humble sort of chap. It's too bad his last appearance in the show was in the season 12 episode Rosie's Funfair special. I did wish he would return in full CGI but with a new voice actor to suit him. I think his Cockney accent suits him perfectly in my eyes since Stepney is named after a district in London. But still, because of these reasons alone, Stepney is not only my most favorite Ertl model, but also because he's my most favorite real-life locomotive character next to Flying Scotsman. Now let me know in the comment section below on which of these Ertl Thomas models are your favorite. Do you agree with my list, or do you have your own personal preference? Next time, I will do a top 5 canceled Thomas toys for Ertl because there are some I wished were released even before the discontinuation of the line. This is Trevor Davis, signing off.